Hello all, my name is Jocelyn and I will be conducting a presentation for students in the grades K through 12. We will discuss ways to increase your abilities in education and hopefully other areas. I will be introducing some learning strategies that will help you take control of your learning experience. In doing this presentation, I hope to encourage a growth mindset that will allow for the long-term retention of new information. My learning objectives are designed to ensure a well-rounded presentation. We will help identify your mindset as growth or fixed by defining them and explaining their differences and benefits. We will also define retrieval practices and key terms. And finally, learn how and when to apply these practices. Problem statement. The purpose of school is to educate students with the goal of generating long-term retention. As beneficial as retrieval practices are, most instructors are not teaching it in their classrooms. A common misconception in education is that massed practice is helpful for creating durable learning. The ability to take apart, apply, and communicate a lesson to someone else effectively is an example of durable learning, and inadvertently, students are doing far more work for a less than impressive result. Studies show the results of retrieval practice outweigh the benefit of rereading. Seeing the information or rereading a text is not enough to create a durable, concrete recollection. Students are led to believe that going over and over text is an ideal study strategy because it does get results in the moment, but not in the long run. Studies suggest a test given immediately after reading a text may get a decent result, but if that test was given again a week later, the results would differ significantly, proving that simply reading is not helpful to durable learning. The author suggests rereading text or cramming is not an accurate indicator of learning, meaning we are not committing text to memory for long-term use. Our immediate response is to trust our intuition when we get the right answer or can recall text moments after reading. Studies show students overestimate how well they are doing when no one is there to hold them accountable. This means we must hold ourselves to a higher standard, channel our growth mindset, and do the hard work. When we are successful at recalling difficult information, we are building strong memory cues, which work as triggers to pull up that information in the future. There are two types of mindsets, known as a fixed or a growth mindset. Having a fixed mindset says that you are only as smart as you were born to be. It is the act of not believing in yourself enough to try harder. According to the author, a student with a growth mindset will be more courageous in their educational efforts, proving if you believe in a growth mindset, you open yourself up to the possibility that you can improve on any task or skill. With the right mindset, deliberate practice, and effort, I believe any student can increase their abilities, and we will dig deeper into this idea in future slides. Content overview. When you're learning, do you struggle to pass tests or have a hard time organizing your thoughts? Do you often feel overwhelmed by the content load and give up before you start? You may be showing signs of content overload and/or poor memory recall skills. We now know these problems can be harvested into motivation to achieve new goals because our intelligence is not fixed at birth. It is set to reach our level of expectation. How do we know what mindset we are? Ask yourself, when you try something new and fail, do you just give up or do you try again until you get it right? In the event that you are being challenged, do you push yourself or do you throw up your hands? When people are not focused on learning from their mistakes, they have a fixed mindset. The author also suggests students with learning disabilities are more likely to have a low esteem toward education and are prone to be less engaged. For this reason, students must find a way to compensate for their inabilities by arresting their fixed mindset. Affirming and nurturing a growth mindset starts with having positive self-talk. Telling yourself there is nothing you cannot do may sound corny, but it is essential to obtaining a growth mindset. The experts in this field suggest your attitude towards learning says everything about how you will learn. What is retrieval practice, you ask? The author defines it as a series of strategies that can be used to recall information at will. That means that you can remember the answer to a question using just your memory. You do not have the book in front of you or a flashcard to cheat from, just your brain doing what it was trained to do, which is remember. Reaching a genius level in any topic or skill is not impossible. It takes deliberate practice of retrieval practices or intentionally pushing yourself to reach for a higher goal to achieve this level of intelligence, but it is absolutely within the realm of possibility. I will not be able to go over all the strategies, but I want to go over the ones that I feel will have the most impact. If you can use just a few of these practices, I am confident it will increase your abilities enough that you will see a difference and never go back to the traditional study practices. The author insists retrieval practices like flashcards, self-testing, interleaving studies, and elaboration strengthen memory. For this reason, we will dig deeper into these and others to see how they can enhance our abilities. According to studies done by the author, students learn better from effortful retrieval. When you learn a new topic, to strengthen your memory of that information, try taking a break to forget some of the text. The very act of trying to retrieve that memory is creating a stronger memory trace for the future. The next time you want to recall the information, it will be that much easier because the effort you gave the first time. Thus, increasing your ability to recall it every time we use this retrieval practice as opposed to cramming, which only serves to benefit the short-term memory. Most schools are designed to practice blocked learning, where your first period is one block and so on. But interleaving the practices suggests that by switching between two different topics, you cause more effortful learning. Interleaving heightens your awareness of when information does not belong, thus making you work harder to remember what the correct answer is and strengthen your retrieval of the information for future reference. This retrieval practice is among the more difficult ones to develop. Generation asks you to use nothing more than your past experiences and knowledge to fill in a space with the correct answer. There's a higher level of effort that is required to queue up an answer with no prior knowledge. But the author suggests that we are closer to our goal of active learning and increasing our abilities when we incorporate difficulty into learning. The author suggests self-testing has great results when done consistently. Self-testing can look like honestly reviewing flashcards, partnering with your peers for review, or simply going over the quiz at the end of a textbook chapter. All these practices strengthen your retrieval and serve as the first attempt at testing, thus making it easier to recall on the final. Self-testing does not have to come directly from the teacher. In fact, it is a greater benefit when it is done independent from the instructor and will bring the text to your mind quicker than just rereading. Suggestions for implementation. One of the first things you need to do is establish a growth mindset. Positive thinking is the key to unlocking your ability to improve your achievements and intellect. To be in control of your learning, you must believe that you can reach higher and achieve more. You must do the hard work to achieve your newfound goals, and an important part of that is knowing and believing that it is possible. In a recent study, it was found that students were able to identify an increase in their learning from practicing retrieval skills, thus promoting a positive mindset and encouraging continued practice. Most students become anxious at the idea of a test, but that is partly because schools have weaponized this learning strategy through the use of standardized testing. You must reprogram yourself to use testing as a form of feedback. Because we cannot change the way teachers provide tests, it is up to you to take control of your learning by self-testing. When you complete a lesson, take the time to self-test by doing the review at the end of the chapter. There is no negative consequence of a bad grade, only the benefit of knowing where you have gaps in your learning. Self-testing is an excellent strategy to use to verify what you do and do not know. The author suggests that we have poor decision-making skills when it comes to knowing what we do and do not know. However, with continued self-testing and deliberate practice, you can create checks and balances for your goals in learning. Multiple studies show the effort put into increasing your abilities using retrieval practices like self-testing resulted in an overall improvement in grades with benefits for the school, faculty, and students.
Summary. In summary, the studies of the authors show that every one of you can increase your IQ. Having a fixed mindset will only prevent you from seeing yourself as the high achiever that we all know you can be. Increasing your abilities is as simple as setting a difficult goal for yourself and working hard to reach it, utilizing the strategies in this presentation. Continued effort and training rewires the brain to think positively about challenges. Working to increase your abilities will certainly require working through challenges, and if you are determined to achieve the new goal, it will leave a mark you will carry with you throughout your life and into higher education. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Below is the reference page.